The Malik Beasley. And, I said earlier, this is the time of year where a bunch of NBA players we've never heard of get paid a lot more money than most NFL players make. I definitely hadn't heard of Malik Beasley. Sixth man. Shooting guard, I believe, for the Detroit Pistons, due to become a free agent. ESPN reported yesterday that he's being investigated for potential gambling, and not just gambling, on the DraftKings app when he shouldn't be, doing things in games. Allegedly, he's being investigated, as his lawyer said, just allegations. He's entitled to the presumption of innocence, but he's on the radar screen. And it's a matter of a public report from ESPN, one of the NBA's broadcast partners, that Malik Beasley is being scrutinized for potential gambling. And we had Jonte Porter last year. We had Tim Donaghy years ago. The NFL has been lucky. Now, I don't know how much of it's luck, how much of it is the NFL turns a blind eye and doesn't really investigate the way it could or should. I don't know. The NFL justifies getting in bed with gambling because it gives the NFL access to information from the sports books about which of their players are gambling when they shouldn't. Basically, the sports books are ratting on their customers as part of their relationship with the NFL. And one of the things I saw in the Malik Beasley story, one of the major U.S. sports books detected unusual activity as it related to wagers regarding a game involving Beasley's team at the time in early 24, I believe, the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe. How much irregular activity? And this is all speculation, okay? But when you consider the relationship between the sports books and the NFL, where the sports books pay the NFL millions for data and sponsorship and everything else that goes along with the relationship. And the NFL, again, they justify it by saying we get access to information from them that helps us enforce our rules. Okay, are there... And I'm already envisioning the phone call from NBC that it's reckless to engage in this kind of speculation, which would come after the phone call from the NFL to NBC. But I think this is fair. Could there be a situation in which the NFL is alerted to some sort of irregular activity by one of its sportsbook partners, and the NFL wants that dead? Let's not talk about that. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's deal with that in other ways. Because the biggest fear the NFL had back when it hated gambling was it's going to compromise the integrity of the game. That if legalized gambling occurs on a widespread basis, normal incidents of the game will be viewed as rigging of the game. The commissioner said that. I'm paraphrasing it, but that's what he said. Normal incidents will be viewed as something abnormal, part of a process to rig the game. And remember when the Super Bowl went to Vegas and I didn't get invited to the commissioner's press conference, and I don't know why I didn't get invited, but I had asked a question of one of the executives about this dichotomy between what the commissioner said in the past and what they're doing now. And it's irreconcilable. It's hypocritical. And they offer up word salads like we get access to information from the sports books to help us detect when people are gambling. They went from hating it to loving it. And the reason they hated it is it makes people think the fix is in. And I'm at the front line of dealing with fans who constantly say the fix is in. And the NFL acts like Mr. Magoo when it comes to the accusations that are rampant that the fix is in. And then they joke about it. They joke about the script. They shout down anyone who thinks there's a bias for the Chiefs. And I don't think there's a bias for the Chiefs. At least there's not a conscious bias for the Chiefs. I think there could be subconscious biases for team that is the new America's team. Sorry, Cowboys, but it's true. Team that is the showcase team, the centerpiece team. We want them to advance. We want them to keep playing. It isn't about gambling. It's about ratings. It's about money. The one thing I think the NFL has done in recent years that has created problems for the integrity of the game, it's not about gambling. It's about being too obsessed with money to the point where the people on the football side of the firewall are thinking about money and it's affecting football decisions. So my point is this. The NFL hasn't had a scandal. And part of it is definitely luck. Part of it may be those relationships with the sports books allow the NFL to bury anything before it becomes a scandal. Now, there are certain things that I think couldn't be buried, especially if the feds get involved. But if the sports books are doing see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil when it comes to any irregularities that might make someone think there's a Malik Beasley or a Jonte Porter, it's easy to bury it and pat the shovel on the pile. Remember when Bijan Robinson didn't play, but a handful of snaps when he had an illness that hadn't been disclosed? Bijan Robinson, a guy who's, fantasy football and prop bets popular his rookie year, 2023. Now they got fined, the Falcons did, for not disclosing the injury, but, that could have been something if there had been any evidence of irregular activity, because someone would have known that Bijan Robinson wasn't playing as much as he ordinarily would. So we start seeing a lot of action on the unders for Bijan Robinson. I'm telling you, something like that is out there. There's too many players. There's too many people who want more. Everybody wants more and everybody wants easy money. And I'm leading into the pitch for my next book that's coming out. The target is August 19th. And I should be, by tonight or tomorrow, have a page in place on Amazon for pre-orders. But it looks at the NFL, not the NFL. Technically not the NFL. The letters NFL in that order and the words National Football League in that order are never used. No team names are used. It's a look at a fictional professional sports league that is the dominant sporting concern in America, and a very simple way that corruption could infiltrate the sport through the mob, through gambling, and through the very valuable information that players have before games, and more importantly, for the purposes of the book that's coming out August 19, during games. So I've been very interested in that issue, and I decided a couple of years ago, let's just write a book about it to try to present to everyone the way things could go haywire for the league and why the league needs to be vigilant about keeping it from happening, not just being vigilant about making sure that when they get a call from the sports book about irregular activity, they ask the sports book to, make that go away. Not saying they have, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.